All right, well, welcome. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, Ron Lummus, and
I don't feel like that.
yeah, I just got a few questions.
I'm just
And
me.
Ron, tell us how you got started in all of this. Why Volkswagen? Why this?
Wow. I've done one of these before. It was a just an audio podcast about where I came from and how it all started. My mom tells me this story of that I was taken to the hospital, and it's kind of funny because as we ask people in one of our videos, hey, Ron, what's your favorite car? And then, hey, tell us what your favorite car is. And so there was a ton of responses. My phone has never blown up like that before because everybody's got a Volkswagen story. They made so many Volkswagens for so long, they're literally everywhere. And either you were conceived in one or, as some of the comments, driven to the hospital. Your mom was delivering when, which was my mom's story. Basically, she told me that, I was halfway out in a Volkswagen on the way to the hospital, and then in the elevator my head was already hanging out or some deal, and my mom said that my head and my shoulders were the same size, and I'm like, oh my gosh, poor mom. But other than the ancient history story of the Volkswagen thing, for me, I think when I was just about maybe 18 years old or something, there was a Volkswagen around the corner, and I drug it home with my motorcycle. Had my buddy in the driver's seat. We had a rope tied around the back, whatever you call the grip rail of the back seat of my 650 Honda that I bought in '81. And we dragged that thing home, and I drag it home with my motorcycle. I always drive my motorcycle. My brother was on the back holding the rope. It was wrapped around the little bar, and my buddy was in the seat of the Volkswagen, and we drug it from around the corner back home. And I tried to build a motor for it, and then I guess I didn't know what end plate meant, and that didn't happen so much. I started it, and it was just dumping oil down on the ground. So, that was a short-lived deal. But fast forward, and not too many years after that, I think it was 80. I graduated high school '81, and then sometime around '85, my buddy that I went to high school with, Doug Perkins, he had a fiberglass dune buggy in one of his storage units, and I crashed my 900 Ninja, and it was in his storage unit till I got the plastic pieces to put it back together. And I came over to the storage unit one day, and I said, hey, what's that? Because I'd never really seen one, but I'd probably seen them, but I mean, not like that. It was cool. It had weld wheels on it. It was Corvette yellow, and it was trick, and it didn't have a motor in it. So I thought, you know what? Much to the chagrin of my V8 buddies, because at the time I had a V8 Chevy Love truck and big N50s on the back and a Turbo 400, a stroker motor. So I was like a gearhead, a motorcycle guy, and then all of a sudden now, here's this Volkswagen screaming at me, buy me, buy me. And it was pretty trick. And so I bought the thing, and I started building a motor for it right away. Well, fast forward to that thing ended up running 10 flat at like 136. And his brother, my roommate at the time, Dave Perkins, said, dude, you need to get out of that car. You're going to kill yourself. Because it was going way too fast for the amount of safety equipment. And because I implicitly trusted his wisdom, he was an old soul and very much into safety. I thought, you know what? I better heed his advice, because I think he's a pretty smart dude. I still know him to this day, and he's a wicked smart dude. I respect him dearly, and still a friend. And yeah, so I got that. I got that running fast, and then I thought, you know what? I need to build something, probably at his behest, something around this motor combination that I had that was probably a little more safe. So that's when I started my business. I was working as a forklift mechanic, and my boss came in one day and said, you know what? I think you need to go find another job. That was tantamount. That's a long story, but he was basically telling me, look, you need to go find another way of life. So I quit on a Friday, or I was pushed out on a Friday, whichever way, whoever's telling the story. And then I called my buddy up, Robert Kaus, and he was in Torrance. I was in Santa Ana, California. And I said, hey, my boss is saying no more. You got anything for me? And he said, well, you could be a forklift mechanic. And then, we started talking about stuff. And so I did. On a Monday, I rolled up there, and I guess working on forklifts was not so difficult. And then he started talking about, hey, I've always wanted to start my own business, because I was a young dummy at the time. What did I know? And he was a little older, and he was successful at what he did. And So I just started building cars. So I built Beetlejuice was my first car that I built. And then that became Robert's car. I didn't have the finances to carry on with it. So he took it over and made it famous. It was the first chassis car I ever built. And then I built a car for Jack Sacchetti, who's, again, another friend of mine, wicked cool guy and a great driver. I built the car for him, and then it just spiraled. It just went nuts. And you got to remember in the 1980s, if you're old enough to remember that, the .coms, the internet started, and it was a crazy time. There was money coming out of the cracks of the grounds, and if you had an idea, there was probably money for it, and everybody was making money hand over fist. And so it was kind of being born at the right time or the right whatever, and being at the right place with the right people. And again, no one's an island to themselves, and God always has a plan, right? So you just find out later on that you were part of it, even though you didn't know it. And so here I am. I mean, I'm in Idaho now, and have had a really long run, and I'm still, when I say run, I mean a success in a career that was marked out for me. And again, to get God's fingerprints on it, no shortage of being able to give that testimony to. But yeah, my Volkswagen in the beginning was kind of a setup for all that's happened in between then and now.
Yeah.
And there's just too much of a story to tell. I mean, we'd have to just keep this tape rolling for a long, long time about all the nuances and all the people and the characters. But I can tell you I've been blessed. It's been good. And the story is still continuing to be written.
That's awesome.
And some of this is with your help. You're my videographer. You're not just my other buddy, Dave.
Sure.
Worked with me for so long.
Yeah.
He's the one who kickstarted me into videos and kind of got my feet wet with that deal. And I give him a lot of props too. I mean, really, Dave's a sweetheart of a guy and a brilliant videographer and just a real cool guy. And he got me kind of kicked off into this deal. And it's like once you've done video, it's kind of hard to go back to audio.
Oh, sure.
Because you can put the fabric and the time and the feel to it, And so I enjoy it. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money too.
Sure.
But it's really wild because once we posted an open-ended question deal for people, my phone's been blowing up, and
good.
And it's comforting to know that people want to know. And that I can tell at least what I can tell. And that people can kind of have fun and glean with it. Of late, and we can kind of get back to you're the guy asking the questions, but you got to kind of cut me off because I'll keep going. And these days, the theme seems to be fun to drive, and again, we need some more fun back in our lives because it's the best story that we could tell, or at least one of the best stories we can tell, because the connection to the Volkswagen industry and the cars and the lifestyle, there's so much there that is just really grassroots and so much fun for people. And like I said, everybody's got a Volkswagen story that they love to tell. And if you just ask them, their eyes will light up, and you'll get a sparkle and some story that is special to them, but it involves a Volkswagen. It's something about the car, obviously the people's car or whatever. It is really true. So I'm blessed to be here today. Thank you.
So you started the business, but when did you go from building cars for other racers, drivers, to saying, you know what, I want to do that. I want to jump into the car seat. I want to race. And tell me a little bit about how that started.
Well, so when I did my own car, and then I realized I needed to I got my feet wet on I got my whistle wet, if you will, with my first, turbo dune buggy deal. And like I said, that went 10 flat at 136 to Sacramento in like 1986 or something, or whatever, it's foggy now, but, then I went back and I started my business. So I started building cars. I built a car for Jack, and then I built a ton of cars. And it wasn't until about 1991 that I got the opportunity. Another friend of mine, Sean Stradwick, had a notchback that he was having me build that was going to be a street car. And somewhere through there, we kind of talked to each other, and I guess it was mutual. He may have a different story now, I don't know, but Sean, a cool guy, really good at doing so many things, really talented person, really awesome individual. And I had built a handful of cars for other people, and then so we kind of did a deal where it was his car, but I could drive it, and I built a motor for it, and then that just kind of developed. And from that first notchback, it's like almost like a turquoise kind of aqua color. From that point on, from 91, it was just solid full tilt racing all the way from 91, basically all the way till I got out of a car, which was around about 2008.
Were you still doing the business side too?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we got to remember, up until a certain point, I didn't have children until 98.
Okay.
So from 91 to 98, it was all racing all the time. And then even after I had kids, my wife will tell you the story of like, yeah, you're going off to a race and I'm delivering my kids, or I'm doing this. It's just, again, there's too many stories to tell. And probably a lot of people have a lot of stories like that where it's so intertwined with personal events and things like that. But yeah, so it was full tilt from one notch back to another notch back to another notch back to a Carmagia, which actually also belonged to a Hawaiian customer. He was gracious enough. I built it for him, and then somewhere through there, I put a motor in it and raced it. And then he said, "Hey, why don't we just sell it?" So we sold it, and then I took the money for the motor, and he took the money for the car. And then I raced cars for other people that I'd built. Just said, "Hey, would you drive my car?" And I'm okay, cool. So we did that, and again, all the while running the business.
Yeah.
Going around the planet. I mean, just visiting customers and friends and people everywhere, and traveling through Europe and to Japan and everywhere.
So, yeah, okay. So you were just doing races. Out of all the races that you goes back into your mind, what was your most memorable race?
Oh, there's no such thing.
Really?
Yeah, there's so many.
The next race is
there's so many high points because the journey of that whole timeline, if you will, there's so many characters and people that if I was to try to do a reenactment or a highlight reel with all of those folks and all those new, I mean, there's just highlight after highlight after highlight. It's like the best of moments. You know, there is no one defining deal in that, to be honest with you.
What was like? Okay, so what about like the race that you won? Is there a race that you think first, like your top race that you won? That you like, yeah, you had to maybe hurdle over something to get to that race, and you were like, you didn't think you were going to win, but you won, or you had to overcome a situation?
Yeah, you know so there's a couple things. Number one, because I've built for so many people, and people who have children will know this. There's this thing called vicariousness or vicarious living. When you're living, you're getting to enjoy an experience that someone attached to you is having, and you're just as happy as they are, or you're attached to it. That's called vicarious living. So because I have so many customers that have had so many successes, those shared successes I get to enjoy. So even though I don't sometimes get to be behind the wheel of the car, I can basically, with my parts, my services, my help, if you will, my anything, I can get to enjoy. It's kind of like having your favorite football team and they win the Super Bowl.
Sure.
You know, your kids, a great example, your kid hits a home run, and how do you feel?
Feel wonderful.
You know, your kid gets a touchdown, how do you feel? Or scores a soccer goal and the winning goal for the winning thing for the last 5 seconds of the game. You're ecstatic. So I've got over and over and over again, I've got to enjoy that. And again, I said, I gave props to God. You know, he told me at one point, it was never you. He told that to me one night when I was welding it. And what it meant to me was that even before I knew him, he gave me everything that I needed to walk into my life with him and still understand and realize that his fingerprints were everywhere. And I've told that to people over and over again. When you look back over your life, it's clear to see those fingerprints in your life. And you just have to know that he's not going to drop you like a hot potato. He's going to keep you going. And so I've had so many experiences, but I would say the thing that popped into my head right when you said that was 1993 in Sacramento, when I ended up winning whatever championship they had and setting a record. And the elation when you first do something, the first time that you win something like that, and it's monumental. It leaves a mark on you that is like, you know, it's easy to go back to as a pinpoint. And go, yeah, this deal. But there were so many after that, and I hope more to come. But again, that's got to be written out still. But I'm building a brand new car right now, and that's a whole nother story. I wasn't ready to build a new car. Up until the point, I'll digress, but up until the point in 1990 or in 2008, when I was driving professionally for the Garrett team, I was driving their sport compact car, and then I got into their Mustang Outlaw 10.5 car. That ran like middle sixes at like over 215 miles an hour, or something like that.
Sure.
But because that was a team that required a lot of money, and I was a paid driver, when funding dried up because of things happening in the political cycle, they could no longer race anymore. So I was out. And then I just had to go back to my day job, which was fine.
Is that what made you? Is that what kind of? Was that your last racing?
Well, my last
story?
personal car was in 2002. I had a brand new Beetle that I built a full tube chassis car out of a new Beetle, the brand new body style. And at some point, I got invited to drive and paid to drive this car professionally. Sure. And the owner of the team, Steve Bothwell, he said, "Look, if I had to race on my own dime, I wouldn't do it." And of course, chuckle. He even though he said that, it's hard not to race. Once you've raced, it's hard not to race. It's in your blood.
It's the rush of just being out there and just.
Especially, look, if you do something like I bowl with my son on Monday nights, and he's better than me by a long shot.
Sure.
So when that stops because he either gets married or can't do it with me anymore, I'm probably not going to go out bowling every Monday night.
Sure.
Because I'm not that good at it. But when you're good at something, it's easy to just go, you know what? I'm going to put the band back together, or I'm going to, take a trip to the mall or something like that. I really want to feel that feeling again, to recapture that's, you could call it an addiction or whatever. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But if you're good at something, it's like the prize fighter who doesn't want to lay the gloves down. He's got one more fight in him.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you always, you think you still got it, and maybe we'll find out. I don't know, but but even if it turns out for naught, I don't want to live life in the regret zone. So I try to look at life that way. Like I don't want to look back or the decisions I'm making today, right now. Will I look back in the future and go, hey, that was really stupid for me to do that, or I'm really glad that I did that? And if you can forward think for a second, go, you know what? If I sell that car, like I talk to people all the time. And I just tell them, hey, man, if you've got a bug that you've spent a lot of time on building, or especially if you're building one with your kids or your kid or your son or your daughter or whatever, don't ever sell that car. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the stories that I've heard from a lot of folks is like, man, I really wish I would have had that. And I'm sure the viewers of this are going to say, yeah. And again, a lot of these guys are talking about cars that they've built, they've had, that their collective memories, buses and Vanagons and just different Beetles that they've had. It was their mom's car, it was their dad's car, it was a fiberglass dune buggy like my original car that I started off with, or whatever it was. There's just a laundry list of people that chimed in on the comments like, hey, this was my favorite car, this was my favorite deal. And I don't know, it's my nephew, he has a Beetle, and he was talking about getting rid of it because it pops out of second gear, right? It's, the trannies wore out. And I just told him, I said, Ryan, don't get rid of that car, because the money that you get from that car is going to bleed off into some home project.
100%.
And then you're later on going to go, you know what? I really wish I would have had that car back. I said, look, just do what you got to do. Keep it.
Figure it out.
And, you can pass it on if you want to.
Sure.
But yeah, just keep it.
So what's the one thing that you miss the most? If you could think of one thing.
You talk about regrets or
not really regrets, just like, the feeling, like maybe it's a feeling. Maybe it's the feeling of hearing the car start right before the green line hits, or it's the going to the finish line, or it's the raising the trophy, or it's the community, or is there
road trips? I think
you just miss going from one to another,
going to events and knowing what's waiting for you when you get there. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but I'm going to guess that it is. When you have a race car, even a street car, and you're taking it to an event, it could be a car show, could be a Cars and Coffee, which have become real popular. Could be a drag car. Not everybody has a drag car.
Sure.
But knowing that when you get there, there's going to be, what in church terms we call fellowship.
Sure.
You're going to be hanging out with your buds.
Yeah.
And you're going to be doing what you love to do, and sharing it with your friends and making memories. And the making memories part, and it could be different for different people for different things, Sure. But for us, for the Volkswagen community, it's the people that you get to do it with,
Sure.
and it's the experience. Because I mean, if you have a fast anything, or let's just say if you have a fast car, and you go out and you just go rent a track somewhere and you run it down the racetrack and you take it home and put it in the garage and do it again, 3 times a year, but you don't have anybody to share it with, what good is that?
Yeah, it's not
Part of it is the rag sessions that go on. My car's faster than your car, or the barbecues that go on. It's kind of like tailgating, but in a racing sense. Sure. Yeah, it's just fun, and I wish there was more of it. But that's why I'm trying to do what I can to encourage people
Sure.
to keep doing what you're doing, no matter what's going on, because it's the one outlet that you have that will yield you memory upon memory upon
Sure.
memory, and you're sharing it with other people. So your memory is part of their memory,
Sure.
and their memory is part of your memory, and on it goes. So, yeah, it's fun. It's a ton of fun. I mean, look, I've been blessed to be able to do what I do, and do it as long as I've done it, and to be able to still be doing it,
Sure.
and for people to still ask my opinion. Not everybody. Some people watching this are going to have their own, yeah, whatever, dude. But that's fine. My opinion in the industry, other people that are going to watch this and listen to this have heard me say this. There's enough room for everybody.
So what advice would you? Oh, maybe two questions. What advice would you give your old self? If you could
dear younger me.
dear younger me, if you could give, and maybe it's the same advice. What would you give to somebody that is just starting off into this space that you wish you maybe would have known then that you know now?
Well, that's a big question, because there's a lot of answers.
Yeah,
and a lot of things. I mean, look, you got to be true to yourself. Number one. I spent a lot of my time pleasing other people, trying to meet their needs. That's part of my personality, just having that woven into my deal. And so if there was a difficult thing, or if there was something, I always rushed to suck it up because I didn't want them to be unhappy. I did the best that I could to be the best that I could. And I think that was a gift from God to make sure that I was a good businessman. And the fact that, again, I couldn't please everyone.
Sure.
But I did the best that I could to do the best that I could. Okay. That's one thing, being true to yourself and who you are. The other thing is, and again, no shame to other people. There's a lot of really bright people. But I never saw my business as a means to my end. In some regards, you don't have to hold back things from people. You can tell them, because it's the software. I tell people this too, they'll know this. There's hardware and software. You can sell somebody a part, that's hardware. But how that part works and what's the best way to adjust that part to make that part work, that's really the software. And so what you're imparting to people, anybody can sell parts. You could sell a part, and there's 5, 10 businesses selling the same part. But the application is to have that part installed, the right part installed on the right car, and adjusted correctly so that the guy gets the best result.
Yeah.
And that word of mouth, it just lets people know that they can call you and get support and help. Because, I mean, look, that's why YouTube University is a big deal, right? Because people want to tune in and know how to install this. They want to do that and whatever. So in my industry, well before social media, before computers and everything, I've just established the reputation or the wherewithal, the business model that, look, you help people.
Yeah.
You do the best you can to make sure that they get the best parts that, and if you don't sell it or make it, point them to the right person, you know? Just try to help people along the way. It's often been said that you see the same people on the way down that you saw on the way up. So be nice, right? There's a song on the radio called Always Be Humble and Kind. And the song goes to tell about, how you should navigate your life.
Sure.
And how you should compose yourself and what you should do. And being a Christian, I mean, those things supposed to become part of automatically who you are, because you're not living for yourself. But in my sense, I wish the industry was filled with more people that helped other people. And again, no shade, there's a lot of people that help a lot of people. And it's a very grassroots deal. But, I just, at this point, there's enough room for everybody in the industry. Even though there's 5 people that make oil cooler mount kits for this, or there's 10 people that make roll cages, there's enough customers to go around. No one needs to lord it over anybody else. It made the best product win, because then the customer wins.
Yeah.
And there's a concept that I don't know if I coined it or not, but it's called win-win-win. Okay, if you're my customer and you buy my product and I win, and you're the customer and you bought a product that really works and you win, that's a win-win-win.
Yeah.
And if you see opportunities where you can win and someone else can win, there's a third thing that's a win, because a lot of times when I win, you lose.
Yes.
or when you win, I lose.
Yeah.
That's not win-win.
No.
But if you can have a win-win, it's foolish to not go for it.
100%.
So if you see a collaboration where you could win and I could win, why would we not do it? That's win-win-win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we both are stronger and better.
Yeah. And so basically what you're saying is, if you're just getting started off, don't take advantage of people. Look for the win-win-win situation.
Yeah.
And everybody wins. And so,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
We need more winners.
we need more winners, and try to help people. Try to help people through this. Don't be the guy that wants to win, but the other guy loses.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's life 101, really.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to dole out life advice per se, but
Sure.
you kind of asked me what worked for me.
Yeah.
And look, after all these years, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I'm still able to do this because I've sought out the betterment for other folks, because I've tried to make the best thing I could make and get it to them as fast as I could. And look, I've tripped and fallen. I haven't done everything right or perfect. I mean, look, man, if I was hung out to dry on the things that I failed on, I'd be done. I'd be barbecued. But I've always tried as hard as I could to make sure that everything ended up in the people's hands that they wanted, and not selling them what they necessarily want, but selling them what they need. My brother told me that a long time ago. He said,
Yeah.
look, Ron, because I told him, I said, man, Joe, my brother, I said, look, I have a hard time upselling people. He said, well, let me help you with that. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, okay, let me ask you a question. I said, okay. He's all, let me phrase this the right way so you'll understand it. This question: would people be better off with your products on their car? And I'm like, yeah, I absolutely, because I'm thinking that I make the best stuff that there is, and the stuff that I make I think is the best. He goes, okay, so your answer is yes. I said, yeah, I think people would be better off with my parts on their car. He goes, then in a nutshell, what you're telling me is that you're actually helping them by getting them connected to the right parts.
Yep.
And I said, in a manner of speaking, yeah. He goes, then what's the problem? My brother's very black and white.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Only like your brother can speak truth to you, and you'll hear him. So
Yeah.
he's done that multiple times in my life and journey, and been there for me.
That's good.
But yeah, so again, not everything a home run. I mean, obviously I've fouled out, and I've done I've not made it to first base on some things. I get it, but I've tried as hard as I could to do the most follow through that I could to get people what they needed. And if I didn't make it, and somebody in Switzerland or Taiwan made it, then I tried the best that I could to get it to them, or Germany, wherever it might be. Because if I saw the worth in it or the value in it, then I tried to bring it to them, and that's what I've tried to do.
Yeah,
and it's worked for me. Here I am, and I'm going to keep going until I decide not to go anymore, or something else decides for me. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know what that might look like, but for now, I've got more work than these two hands can do. And so I'm having to try to figure out at this point how to slow it down and not stop it, because I'm having too much fun. I don't want to stop it per se.
Sure.
And, I'm making a living. I'm taking care of my family, and, like everybody else is working, doing their thing. And however many more days that I can do this, I really don't know. But it's still fun. And I still enjoy it. And the creativity and making new products and coming up with new things it's really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Well, no, thank you for a little bit of the story. If you've made it this far, and you have any stories that you've had with Ron through the years, or bought parts,
only the good ones.
leave them in the comment. If he owes you any money, leave it in the comment.
Hey, I'll tell you this: it's a good thing that a lot of this, there wasn't video running on a lot of this, because it wasn't out yet.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. So.
But if you have any questions or any comments, leave it in the comments, and maybe we'll do a part 2 to this maybe sometime in the future.
I'd like to follow up with this, because
There's story after story, right?
yeah, there's tons of stories to tell, and maybe someone will chime in with, hey, remember that time?
Yeah.
And remember that time? And again, a lot of it was like stuff that couldn't be retold, because it's like, oh my gosh.
We've been embarrassment.
Pastor, don't watch this.
Yeah.
It was your heathen years or whatever. But look, no animals were harmed during the filming of this deal. But yeah, there's so many cool people that I've got to do this with. I could wear out a couple ink pens and notepads naming them, but yeah.
Ron Lummus biography coming soon. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you later. Fun to drive.
Yeah, hey, man.
Fun
to drive.
Peace.
Yeah.